Number 32, create a scatter plot to demonstrate the relationship between the snowstorms this year and the average amount of salt used on the roads in the town. So if we look at our table, we have our values for snowstorm and our salt. This data is going to go into L1, and this data is going to go into L2. So what I'm going to do real quick is just put that information into L1 and L2, and then come back to it a little later. So let me go to Stat, Edit, delete everything. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then go back up, and then type in 3, 4, 8, 10, 15. Now, what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to close that for a minute. And now I'm going to label my snowstorm axis and my salt axis. So snowstorm and salt. Now, if we look, I'm going to basically just go out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. And then for my y-axis, I'm just going to go up by 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. And honestly, I could actually space out my x-axis a little more, so I'm going to do that also. I'm going to make every other one 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it says sketch a line or a curve best fit, but we first need to create our scatter plot. So at 1, I'm going to plot 3. So go out 1, up 3. At 2, I'm going to plot 4. So at 2, I'm going to plot 4. At 3, I'm going to plot 8. At 4, I'm going to plot 10. And at 5, I'm going to plot 15. Now, if you look at this, it's asking us to sketch a line or a curve of best fit. So how we're going to do this, we're actually going to use our graphing calculator. But when we're doing this, we actually are just sort of going to follow the curve. But what we're going to do is we're actually not going to do a linear regression. We're going to do an exponential regression. And the reason why is because if you look at this, it doesn't look like a straight line. It actually follows like an exponential pattern in a way with that curved feature. So I'm not going to do a linear regression on this. I'm going to do an exponential regression. So to do that, I'm going to go to Stat, scroll right, and go all the way down to exponential regression, which is going to be 0. And then I hit enter, and then I get these values. So for my determine a function, define it based on the line of best fit, this is going to be an exponential function. And now I'm going to input that information. So we can see that our A value is 1.9629. So I'm going to write down y equals A times B to the x. So y equals 1.9629 times B, which is 1.5121 to the x. And now what we're going to do is I'm going to type that into y equals. Hit second graph and I see some values. And I'm also just going to sort of look there and I can see that that sort of like mirrors my image. So when we're sketching the line or the curve of best fit, it's not going to go through all our points, but it will go through a few of them, or it will just sort of like follow that pattern. So when I sketch it, it should look something like this in a way, maybe. Okay. Now you can also like copy and paste some of your values from your table and plot them, or you could just sort of like draw like a nice sketch that comes very close to your data and all that stuff. If we look back here, our R value is 0.987, or if we round to the nearest hundredth, it's 0.99, which means that it's an extremely strong relationship between this data.